Well, I still don't have my propane delivered, as you can see, running a little buddy heater. Last night it got down to about 30 degrees, so I didn't turn on the propane heater last night. I just ran that electric heater, and I woke up this morning, it was 51 degrees in the cabin with just that electric heater on. So I'm thinking that's been running about 4,000 BTUs in this propane heater that I just hooked up yesterday. That's up 5 different settings up to 10,000 BTU. So I'm going to play around with it and see where it runs the best without getting too hot in here. So here's what I did yesterday. So I got here's my flaring tool. So I ran this black pipe up to the heater here. Here's a union shut-off valve, and there's the trap, sediment trap, and here's my 1/2-inch copper coming up in right here. So that's how I connected that, and then I put a piece of wood behind here with that clamp, and this is solid. This ain't going nowhere with that clamp. So we had somebody said, why no wood stove? Well, let me back up here. I'll show you how big this cabin is. It's 24 feet long, minus the thicknesses of the walls. So this is all the room I have. So if I put a wood stove, it's going to take up a big area, and then I'm going to have to, get the fire going. It's going to get real hot in here in the evening when I don't really need the heat. And then when it cools down overnight, the fire is going to progressively get, smaller in the wood stove. It's going to create less heat. So by the time I wake up in the morning, it's going to be cold in here. So, and the winters aren't really that bad in Tennessee. So I figure with this propane heater on the wall here, it should heat this cabin up fine. Then I'll have this floor space. I can store stuff down there. So that's kind of my plan for the heating. So hopefully, I talked to the driver yesterday. Went down to the propane company to get a couple of these tanks filled up, and he says that when he first started working there was only 2,100 accounts. Now there's 3,100 accounts, and it's just 2 drivers. So I have 3 cups of coffee. I'm jittery. So he's saying they're not going to be able to keep up this winter, and they're not hiring anybody. So that was his little song and dance. So, well, hopefully I'll get my propane Friday. I'm just tired of going to fill these 20-pound tanks up, but it doesn't cost that much. With tax, it comes to like $10.90 to fill up that 20-pound propane tank, which isn't too bad. In Florida, it would have been $20. So that's what I got going on. Also, the wood stove, or what I'm going to do with it. I have it down there by the shed. I'm going to actually put it in the shed. I got a buddy coming to stay in the shed for about 5 days. And he wanted to do a project out here. I said, okay, let's, there's a couple things we can do. So we're going to put that wood stove in the shed down there. I got enough room in there for it. And maybe I'll start hanging out down there this winter when I get that wood stove in there. And I could crank that thing up real good in there, and it won't matter. I think it would just get too hot in here. And as far as safety, I have fire extinguisher, 2 smoke detectors. One of them just does smoke, and the other one does carbon monoxide and smoke. And for ventilation, I have half of that vent I closed off. You can see it up there in the loft. So it's about 5 by 8 opening for my ventilation for the propane, and then on the other side of the loft, which you're not going to be able to see it, I got a bunch of junk up there right now. It's a smaller hole, about half that size, for the ventilation. And also, when I was working on this wall the other night, insulating it, I pulled everything away from the wall and insulated it. This air conditioner, I felt a huge cold draft coming through this AC, so I'm going to go wrap it up with plastic and bungee cord on the outside, and then put a thicker towel over it on this side, just keep the draft from coming through that wall. It was a pretty good draft. So that's about it. Yeah, I'm just excited to get propane finally. I'm tired of having this freaking heater taken up, it's in the middle of my cabin. So worked out pretty good. they're going to do a pressure test on it, make sure I don't have any leaks here. But I can do that myself too. You just take some Windex or, you know, something like that and just spray it on the connections after you run the propane through it. You'll see, little bubbles if you have a leak. But I know I won't have any leaks on this stuff, but the only one that possibly could leak is where I did the flare connection right here with the flaring tool. So, but I like the way that turned out. It's solid. It ain't going nowhere. This 1/2 inch copper's pretty rigid too. I'm putting quite a bit of pressure on it. None of this is moving. So I like the way that turned out. Did another rotisserie chicken on the grill last night. Paid $3 for it, 6-pound chicken. They were on sale at the grocery store. I guess they were getting ready to go out of date, so they put them half price. They're usually $1 a pound. Bella, what are you doing under the bed? Every now and then she just goes and hides under the bed. What are you doing? Why are you hiding under the bed? Alright, I'm just rambling here. See you guys. It's a little cabin update.